San Francisco, the beautiful city. A city that also creates 1,500 tons of garbage every day. But San Francisco's beauty endures, due in great part to the resourceful people. This is the story of San Francisco's hard-working, resourceful garbage men. The men of Sunset Scavenger Company and Golden Gate Disposal Company. It is the story of how, for more than half a century, these progressive and imaginative private firms have built the city's solid waste management system from a helter-skelter of individually owned horse-drawn wagons to what is recognized internationally as a model method for collection and disposal of refuse, and for resource conversion. The story began as long as 80 years ago, when people from small provincial villages in northern Italy emigrated to the United States in search of opportunity and a better way of life.
Italia bella mostrati gentile, e i figli tuoi non li abbandonare, se no ne vanno tutti in Brasile, non si ricordano.
Many headed west, drawn by California's golden promise and by its similarity to their homeland. Of those who settled in San Francisco, many were farmers used to hard work and long hours. But they soon discovered that employment was hard to find in their new utopia. The language barrier and discrimination were obstacles they faced. Because they were forced to take jobs no one else wanted, many of them established one-man scavenging services. The horse and wagon refuse collector became a common sight on San Francisco's streets. Many independent scavenging businesses got their start after the great earthquake and fire destroyed most of San Francisco in 1906. The massive task of cleaning up the city so that rebuilding could start provided employment for hundreds. Collecting the city's refuse was further complicated by passage of a post-quake emergency ordinance by the Board of Supervisors, prohibiting the dumping of any garbage within the city limits. As a result, all refuse was transported by special trains of the Southern Pacific Railroad to sites in next-door San Mateo County. But competition grew. In some places, there were as many as 7 wagons collecting in one block. This chaotic competition eventually turned into cooperation, with the collectors pooling their resources and sharing the profits of their work. The horse-drawn wagon, which had been designed and built by the Scavengers, eventually gave way to more efficient motorized trucks. The Ed DeMartini Truck Company was created by former Scavengers to build these special refuse movers. Early on, the Scavengers were demonstrating the resourcefulness that has marked their long service to San Francisco. In 1920, a major organizational step toward improving refuse collection in the city was taken. The dozens of independent Scavengers agreed to consolidate, forming the 2 companies that do the job today: Sunset Scavenger Company and the Scavengers Protective Association, now known as Golden Gate Disposal Company. Licensed as the city's only refuse collectors, Golden Gate primarily serves the downtown business financial area, while Sunset serves the more residential balance of the community. Ever since, the companies, in close cooperation with the city, have met ingeniously the ever-growing solid waste disposal needs of the community. As a result, San Francisco today is one of the world's recognized leaders in solid waste management. This success is due in part to a 5-element systems approach. Collection, processing, transfer, disposal, resource conversion and recovery. The collection element begins as early as midnight, serving the many commercial and industrial customers. In compliance with noise abatement and traffic regulations, collection starts in the residential areas between 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. To save time, the crews begin collecting before the trucks arrive for loading. The driver follows and starts dumping the tied sacks into his compactor truck. He continues this routine until he catches up with the rest of the crew. Cans are used for easy-to-reach customers. Many apartment houses are supplied with bins by the scavenger companies. Blankets and sacks are used for uphill climbs and for the larger cans used in apartment buildings. Unlike most large cities, much of San Francisco's refuse is collected from backyards and alleys. In many cases, keys are required for access to the customer's refuse can. More than 25,000 of them, in fact. More than 5,000 customers still keep their garbage containers at least 3 floors above ground. For 75 years, the two companies have been providing this special collection service, tailored to the customer's convenience. With good reason, San Francisco is one of the cleanest cities in the world. By now, most San Franciscans are familiar with the 15-ton packer trucks, which hydraulically compact the refuse. These trucks transport 5 times as much refuse as the older models. Each truck collects 2 loads a day. The development of such modern equipment typifies the two companies' ongoing process of finding the most efficient means of doing their vital job. Specialized vehicles, such as this debris box truck, for another example, remove great amounts of refuse quickly. Front loaders will empty this type of box on location and leave the box to be refilled. With such vehicles, one man can now do the work formerly done by 5, saving time and energy, and reducing operations costs. Still another of the highly specialized services performed by the companies is the disposal of the city's processed sewage. A steady stream of trucks handles it readily. The Scavengers' resourcefulness shows up inside as well as out on the routes. To reduce costs in the administrative area, Sunset and Golden Gate have complete computer centers to handle customer billing and the complex organization of routes. Use of the latest data processing technology assures maximum efficiency at minimum operational cost. That does not mean, however, that the personal touch has been lost. Each truck route has 2 supervisors who deal directly with any problem that might arise. The next element in solid waste management, processing, takes place in the San Francisco Solid Waste Processing Center, the world's largest when it was built. The center is the product of one of the most comprehensive studies of solid waste disposal ever conducted. Top consultants in the field of solid waste management were retained to evaluate a wide range of disposal methods, including many used throughout Europe and Japan. They were looking for a system that could satisfy specific criteria. It must have the capability of receiving refuse 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It must handle 150 vehicles per hour, must provide for efficient operation, and incorporate a backup system for emergencies. Finally, and importantly, the design must have the flexibility to incorporate future developments in materials handling, disposal, and advanced resource recovery technology. And this is the result. A 2,000-ton per day facility, affectionately called the Palace of Garbage, Il Palazzo di Mondizia. Built by a partnership of Sunset, Golden Gate, the landfill engineering firm of Beasley and Brassey, and truck transportation specialist Buren Equipment Company, the facility went into operation in November of 1970. The center does handle those 150 trucks per hour within the 200-foot span building. They discharge their loads into a massive pit inside the center. The residential refuse is then moved by bulldozer into the ferrous metal recovery system, while industrial and commercial waste is sent directly to the landfill. In the metal recovery system, at a rate of about 100 tons an hour, it is shredded and processed through a magnetic separation system, which extracts about 30 tons of recyclable metals a day. This system was installed in 1973, but already is soon to be replaced with a far more advanced process. Approximately 100 tons of low and high-grade paper stock, cardboard, and newsprint are recovered daily. The next two elements of the system are transfer and disposal. The custom-designed 26-ton capacity truck-trailer rigs are covered with large metal screens to prevent refuse from scattering while in transit. Transfer involves truck transportation of the processed refuse from the center to a sanitary landfill site in Mountain View, 32 miles away. In Mountain View, the waste becomes sanitary fill for what will be a spectacular 690-acre regional park on the shoreline of San Francisco Bay. Landfilling at the park is carried out according to engineering specifications, developed cooperatively by the U.S. Department of Interior Bureau of Outdoor Recreation, the City of Mountain View, and the companies. Each day, 2,100 tons of solid waste are transported to the site. Engineered fill, levees, and dikes have been placed, representing sanitary disposal of more than 5.5 million tons of solid waste. The park, which is being built at no expense to Mountain View, will contain a variety of recreational facilities, including lakes, horse trails, and golf links. This notable landfill project represents a mutually beneficial solution to a twofold problem: the urgent need for such recreational facilities and the critical shortage of single-purpose disposal facilities in the urban areas. And here's another plus for the Mountain View project. The Scavengers and their associates have developed an operational methane gas recovery field at the park landfill site. The valuable gas, which is produced when wet garbage decomposes, is used to supplement other gas supplies from PG&E. So we have seen how San Francisco's two inventive scavenger firms handle so well the first four elements of the solid waste management program: collection, processing, transfer, and disposal. By 1983, however, the Mountain View operation will be completed, and the old question comes up again: where do we go from here? As long as landfill is needed, and some landfill capability is required for every known disposal method, Sunset and Golden Gate will provide it. But in order eventually to eliminate San Francisco's dependence upon it as the primary method of disposal, the two companies have turned to the fifth element of the city's waste management program: resource conversion and recovery. This element is clearly the wave of the future in solid waste management. We have seen an early ripple of it in the recovery of paper, metal, and methane gas from the waste stream. In 1965, through their jointly owned disposal arm, Sanitary Fill Company, Sunset and Golden Gate began a major study of all existing and emerging disposal technologies, especially those involving resource conversion and energy recovery. This examination has resulted in the company's proposal to construct the San Francisco Resource Conversion Center. This $94 million facility has been designed to handle 2,000 tons of San Francisco's refuse daily and to meet the city's waste disposal needs for the foreseeable future. The refuse will be converted into boiler fuel to generate 35 megawatts of power, enough to meet the electrical needs of 45,000 homes. The center's refuse-derived fuel, RDF for short, will save 400,000 barrels of oil a year. More than 20,000 tons of metal and recyclable materials also will be recovered annually, and up to 50,000 tons of glass and other saleable materials. How will all this be done? Refuse will be received, as it is now, at the transfer station and moved by bulldozer to what is called the front-end system. There, the non-combustible waste fraction will be extracted for recycling or separate disposal before the remainder is moved to the back-end system. This consists of fuel storage, boilers, steam generators, and a substation that feeds its power into the electricity grid serving the public. For Sunset Scavenger and Golden Gate Disposal, the Resource Conversion Center is a climactic achievement in more than half a century of uninterrupted, environmentally sound waste management services for San Francisco. From helter-skelter horse-drawn wagon pickup in the post-earthquake period to sanitary landfill instead of open dumping and unhealthy incineration, to the space-age concept of resource recovery and conversion of waste into energy. It's quite a record for Sunset Scavenger Company and Golden Gate Disposal Company, and for San Francisco, their beautiful city. It's a record that demonstrates dramatically how the public-private partnership between the San Francisco Scavenger Companies and City Hall can work successfully to achieve a great mutual good. At least when you have the resourceful people to do it.